Welcome to Know Where It Goes, Moisture Problems, the second in a two-part video series designed to help you save money on your energy bills, improve the comfort and safety of your home, and protect your investment. This video series is being brought to you by United Community Action Network, Douglas and Josephine Counties, Oregon. UCAN, helping people, changing lives. The primary threat to a structure is prolonged exposure to moisture. Excessive moisture can cause a multitude of problems and can come from some unexpected sources. In this video, you will learn what contributes to high moisture levels in a building and what steps can be taken to correct the problem. First, we will discuss how occupant behavior can increase moisture in a home. Then we will explain how groundwater can infiltrate and cause problems. And finally, we will go over how moisture accumulation invites other problems like increased energy usage, occupant health risks, and wood-destroying organisms. Groundwater is often blamed for moisture problems inside a home. But most people don't realize that occupant behavior contributes a significant amount of moisture, maybe even more than you think. We're going to look at some of these contributing factors now. When you see condensation on surfaces inside your home, it is a sign that there may be moisture problems to address. Warm air can carry more moisture than cold air. When warm, moist air hits a cold surface, the air chills and cannot carry its moisture anymore. So it deposits the water molecules onto the cold surface where they beat up. Condensation is a symptom that either the air is too moist or the surface is too cold. Neither are things you hope to see happening inside your house. Most of the time, it is advisable to increase the R value where you see condensation. But first, see if you can reduce the amount of moisture that is added to the air in your home from everyday activities. Here's a tip. Use a hygrometer, not barometer, to test the relative humidity levels in your home and strive for an RH of 30 to 60. Anything greater than a relative humidity of 60 will lead to mold and mildew issues. Although it's not always on, the amount of water vapor that accumulates in the bathroom from showering can be considerable, especially if a vent fan is not used. If your bathroom doesn't currently have a fan, consider having one installed. If there is a fan, make sure it does not empty into the attic, a very common problem, but passes through and is directly vented to the outside of the house through the roof or the gable end wall. Otherwise, all the moisture from the shower will be dumped into your attic and will affect the performance of your insulation. Almost all of the images you see here were gathered by home inspectors who see it all the time. How much would you be willing to bet that your bathroom fan vent is installed correctly? Do not be talked into venting it out through the soffit vents. These are the vents found on the underside of the roof overhang. If you push warm, humid air through the soffit, it will just rise back into the attic. Remember that those soffit vents are there to bring air into the attic. The moist air that finds its way back in will lead to other problems like wet insulation and mildew. So have your bathroom fan vent through the roof or between the studs of the gable end wall, whichever is the shortest distance. And even if the fan exhausts properly to the outside of the house, you may still see evidence of moisture problems. Stains on the ceiling or water dripping down from the bathroom fan are often caused by condensation. In the winter, when warm, moist air hits cooler surfaces such as the metal of the vent stack rising through the attic, the moisture will adhere to the cooler surface and run back down to the source. This can happen on second-floor laundry vent stacks as well. Since you cannot remove the moisture from the air in the vent stack, you will have to insulate the stack to keep it warm enough so that moisture will not condense on it. Here is a good how-to video. Here's a tip. Don't turn off the bathroom fan until the mirror is clear. If the mirror does not clear quickly, check to see that the fan is working and venting properly. You can also get a fan that has a built-in moisture sensor. The fan will automatically go on and off as moisture levels rise and fall. In the kitchen, use of a vented range hood will send the steam and odors caused from cooking to the outside. Check for ductwork leading away from the range hood. If there is none, consider having a vented range hood installed. And cover pots to boil. They will boil faster, so you will save energy, and it will go a long way toward containing the water vapor from cooking. Clothes dryers can release excessive amounts of moisture inside the house if they are not properly vented to the outside. Some people argue that you can safely reclaim the waste heat that would otherwise be lost to the outdoors. But the fumes from laundry detergents and fabric softeners are unhealthy in a confined space, and the excessive moisture that is introduced to the atmosphere of the house can be very bad for the structure. Here's a tip. Have your dryer vents inspected and cleaned out annually to prevent clogs, which can lead to house fires. The lint trap on your dryer only catches about 70% of the lint. The rest exits through the vent tube. But some of that will adhere to the moistened walls of the vent tube, and over time it will build up. And sometimes animals will take advantage of the warm conditions and build nests, which will increase the risk of a clog. In the USA, 20,000 fires a year are attributed to dryer lint. A properly vented dryer uses a metal duct and goes from the dryer directly to the outside of the house. An exterior vent that has a closing flap on it is the best choice. Here's a tip. Fabric softener sheets can leave a residue that impedes airflow. Periodically scrub the dryer lint screen in hot water. This will save you money and help the lint trap work better. Those are the main suppliers of moisture, but other everyday activities like washing dishes, watering houseplants, having fish or aquatic pet tanks, and even breathing contribute to the amount of moisture in the air inside the home. Being aware of how occupant behavior affects moisture levels is the first step in preventing health and/or structural issues. Of course, if you see signs of standing water in your basement or crawl space, then groundwater and drainage are an issue that needs to be addressed right away. When heavy rain or snow melt is absorbed into the ground, it can settle around the foundation of the home and eventually find its way into or under your house. It is easy to see the source when there is a visible crack in the concrete of the foundation. Cracks can allow soil gases and moisture to leak into the home, and it is important to get those cracks sealed as much as possible. But even if there is no visible cracks, capillary action can allow moisture from the soils to be absorbed through the concrete and move into the basement of the home. The moisture will then evaporate, and as it warms, will be dispersed throughout the house. Although mainly a cosmetic concern, efflorescence, a white crystallized powder that appears on concrete, is a sign of drainage problems, but it is not mold. The main solution to groundwater-supplied excess moisture is proper drainage and adequate overhangs. Your typical gutter downspouts can be quite effective if they empty into drain pipes that carry the water at least 10 feet away and downslope from the foundation. These days, it is recommended that homes are built with gravity drain pipes installed around the footings to redirect water away from the home's foundation and not let it pool by the house. Generally, you can combine all the drain pipes or tiles in one trench that will carry them to light or open air that is downslope of the origin. But there are other ways to control groundwater. French or curtain drains are good solutions for homes that are on even a small slope. These are generally placed a few yards uphill of the house and a foot or two below the surface of the yard. This will capture and divert the rainwater, snowmelt runoff, or other groundwater which travels mostly within the naturally loosened top 24 inches of the soil. You may need to dig deeper if you have an underground spring that travels on top of ledge rock, or if a large part of the slope has been deeply excavated. If the lot is very flat, pooling water will often occur. Building codes require that the ground around a foundation slope away at a minimum of 6 inches in the first 10 feet, and another foot of drop over the next 100 feet. This is only a minimum. Obviously, more slope means less water near the home. Overhangs on a home are a good way to help prevent water from settling around the house. It also helps keep water from splashing onto the home, which could damage painted or exposed wood. And although it is costly and difficult to adjust the amount of overhang on an existing roof, porch add-ons can provide the same service and also offer outdoor living areas in good weather. Evaporated moisture from either groundwater or everyday living activities can be carried into the interior sections of walls through any cracks or gaps. Once there, it can chill and condense on the first cold surface it hits, causing wet insulation, mold, exterior paint failure, or even ice buildup. Every electrical outlet or switch plate on an exterior wall can have gaps that amount to a 1-inch hole in your wall. An ungasketed electrical outlet on an exterior wall can allow over 7 gallons of water to pass through in one heating season. This is a huge amount of water that will need to dry out. Paint peeling on the exterior could be a sign that there is excessive moisture getting into the walls. Foam gaskets can be bought at any hardware store for around $2 a pack. So gasket those outlets and switch plates. And if your home was built before 1940, gasket all of them on both the interior and exterior walls. Adding gaskets to your outlets and switch plates is probably the cheapest and easiest project you could do, and once it is done, you will be saving money and protecting your home. Please be safe when working around electricity. It is a good idea to flip the breaker to off for any receptacle you are working on. Here's some great how-to videos. Moisture can cause mold growth. Mold spores can travel on air currents and can thrive very easily wherever temperatures and humidity levels are comfortable for humans. The only other thing they need is their food source, cellulose, which is wood or paper fiber. Breathing in mold spores can lead to respiratory health problems. If you see signs of mold or mildew behind furniture or on boxes in the basement, it is a symptom of excessive moisture in the air and or poor ventilation. If it is warm enough and moist enough for mold, mold will happen. Here's a tip. To prevent mold and mildew issues, try to make sure that all furniture is pulled away from the wall 2 to 3 inches to allow air movement and prevent moisture buildup. Also, build wire or ventilated shelving in the basement to store your boxes on. This will keep them from wicking moisture off the floor. Dehumidifiers may seem like a great solution, but they are simply masking the problem at hand, not solving it. Dehumidifiers are noisy, fairly high maintenance, and very costly to run. It makes far more sense in the long run to discover what the real moisture problem is and correct it. Because the more moisture your warmed air is carrying, the more likely you are to experience problems with mold and mildew, paint failures, wet, ineffective insulation, and wood-destroying organisms like brown rot and white rot, which are fungi that will soften the wood, subterranean termites, which need to stay moist So they build mud tunnels from their homes in the ground to the wood of the house where they eat along the grain, and carpenter ants, which leave telltale piles of sawdust and tunnel every which way through the wood, making their homes. Whatever the cause, excessive moisture is an enemy that your home cannot withstand. Take the time to hunt for signs of moisture and to remedy the sources. Thanks for watching Know Where It Goes, Moisture Problems to Avoid or Address. Please be sure to watch our other video, Energy Loss, to become informed about how to save money on your utility bills. And please visit the United Community Action Network website for more information on how to save money, safeguard your biggest investment, and protect the health of your family by retrofitting your home.